Which thing?
In the past year, we've had some struggles with the COVID-19 that came down the pike. Last year, just before the annual meeting, we made the decision last year to postpone the annual meeting. We ended up having last year's meeting, I believe, in September, kind of a bare bones event, kind of like we're trying to do today. Hopefully next year we can have the complete membership back. We usually do a meal and come down here, and we've had up to 250 to 300 people participate in our annual meeting. We took a few measures that we tried to use to keep the people, our own employees, as well as the membership that had to deal with us on a day-to-day basis, safe. We closed our lobby down for a while, and people had to just come into the entryway area there if they needed to see someone. I know the line crews split up and they went just with 2 people in a truck. As far as our day-to-day maintenance and things like that, we kept things going as well as we could. Never had any big glitches as far as too many out at one time. We had some quarantine, but never more than a couple or 3 at a time, so business proceeded as usual. As the COVID-19 pandemic approached, I don't think any of us had any idea that it would turn out to be what it became as far as operations and such. We thought maybe a month or 2 and things would be back to normal. Well, as fall came across, we realized that that was not going to happen, and things was actually getting worse instead of better. It became what we realized was an historic event and something that had probably never been seen in this country, at least in anyone's lifetime that are here now. And it's something that I don't think our country will ever be quite the same again. I'm hoping things can get as close to normal as they were before.
Been actively involved in the co-op for years, and strong supporter of the co-ops. They're member owned. I really like that part of it. And of course, we have to constantly be concerned with where our energy is coming from, if it's going to be available, and I think the co-ops are a great way to do that. When they're member-owned, it makes a huge difference versus just a big corporation. So I don't think people really understand what goes into flipping on a light switch. I had the opportunity several years ago to visit the Basin Electric up in North Dakota, and what a wonderful experience. And I think people would be more appreciative of what people do in order for us to have our electricity, and the co-ops are a huge part of that. So and I feel like Lacreek Electric has done a really good job. They've kept everything pretty local, got good board members, and as far as a legislator, they're always keeping me in the loop. I know what's going on at all times. They're good at coming and testifying on legislation for me over the years. I just hope everybody will continue to support their local co-ops, because really they are the soul of our electricity, and for people to be able to turn their lights on and off and have heat and air conditioning and water and everything else that electricity has brought for us.
So I've been a member of Lacreek Electric since the time that I was born. We grew up here in Martin, South Dakota. I went to work at the bank in Martin, and Lacreek Electric plays a big part in what we do as a community. They donate to the local fire departments. They also donate to our Bennett County Fair, so a lot of kids are affected by that, and they've done some demonstrations there which are really good for those young kids to see just what that electricity does and how dangerous it can be on the farm. So they do a lot of that type of education. Lacreek Electric has offered scholarship programs as well to the local high school kids, and this year they added, I believe, another program where they offered it to college sophomores. So they are always looking for ways to help improve the community. They participate in all of the parades, always have a float there, and they have a good showing in our community. Some of their employees work to coach kids and do different things like that. As far as owning a small business, I know that we rely a lot on the electricity as part of being able to power all our devices. So with an online business, you have to make sure that everything's charged, everything's working. And I think during the time when we may have not had electricity based on the outages going on in Texas and the things they were experiencing, Lacreek Electric just did a great job keeping the power on here.
Serving on the board for this past 8 years, I've really come to the realization of what a co-op really is. I was a little green when I came on. I knew how a co-op worked, but I did not realize how the membership actually drives every decision we make. When I sit in a board meeting, a lot of times I may think one way, but in the back of my mind I'm thinking, how would the membership stand on this issue? And I've actually voted a few times against my own conscience just because I know that the membership that elected me to serve on this board would want me to go in a different direction. So it has become very clear to me that you as member owners absolutely do own this co-op, and you have complete control over the way we do our operations.